Italian and Kurdish archaeologists uncovered 15-foot rock carvings depicting an Assyrian king and 7 Assyrian gods standing on the backs of sacred animals. The artwork was carved in relief in a cliff along a canal in the northern Kurdistan region of Iraq. The king is believed to be Sargon II, who ruled from 722 to 705 BC and conquered the northern kingdom of Israel. It is possible that the canal where the relief was found was dug by Israelites enslaved by Sargon II. A dig in Bani Yas in northern Israel has revealed the remains of a 4th century church built, as was a common practice, atop a shrine to another god. Bani Yas was a cultic center of worship of the god Pan, and the shrine was likely for worship of the Greek deity associated with sex and spring. Christians in the 4th century would have recognized the location as the biblical Caesarea Philippi, near the location where Peter told Jesus, "You are the Christ," and Jesus replied, "On this rock, I will build my church." One stone in the ruin is marked with cross-etchings left by pilgrims who visited the church shortly after Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire. Archaeologists uncovered a fortified building in the Golan Heights dated to the time of David's rule, about 1000 BC. A large basalt stone in the fortress is engraved with 2 horned figures with outstretched arms. Archaeologists believe this building was an outpost of the kingdom of Geshur, an ally of King David. David's wife Maacah, the mother of Absalom, was the daughter of the king of Geshur. A new test on organic remains on the burned surface of an 8th century BC altar revealed a residue of marijuana. This is the first evidence cannabis was associated with any form of worship in ancient Israel and the oldest known ritual use of marijuana to date. The altar was dedicated to the worship of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The worship center at the desert stronghold of Arad was first excavated in the 1960s. Tests done half a century ago came back inconclusive. New tests were done using improved equipment and techniques. A second altar at the site carried traces of frankincense. Tel Aviv University archaeologists calculate that a temple, discovered during reconstruction of Israel's Highway 1, near Jerusalem, was built around 900 BC. The Motza temple is estimated to be similar in size to the temple built by Solomon a half-century earlier and just 5 miles to the east. The rival temple was likely used to worship the god who brought the Israelites out of Egypt, and other gods too. The discovery was startling but fits well with the Old Testament narrative of national disputes over where, how, and who to worship. Scholars think some key scriptural texts were composed as defenses of Jerusalem-based worship, and 1 Kings recounts how, during the same century, the northern kingdom of Israel constructed worship centers at Dan and Bethel. Israeli archaeologist Yosef Garfinkel uncovered the ruins of a Canaanite temple from the 12th century BC. The excavation site, located in Lachish, one of the most important Old Testament cities in the region, has yielded a trove of artifacts used in Canaanite worship, including jewelry, daggers, and 2 4-inch tall bronze figurines of smiting gods. Perhaps the most significant discovery at the temple is a bronze scepter coated with silver. Garfinkel believes it was held by a human-sized statue of the Canaanite god Baal. The statue itself was not found, but large statues of ancient Canaanite gods are rare. Archaeologists working on a road project in the Jezreel Valley outside the modern city of Afula discovered a royal complex that served Israelite kings such as Omri and Ahab. The complex is located just a half-dozen miles from Tel Jezreel, site of another palace of King Ahab. A large pillared building they uncovered was described as the best preserved building of the house of Omri ever found in Israel. Storage jars found at the site reveal what appears to have been a centralized system of food distribution. Turkish archaeologist Celal Şimşek discovered sacred items used in Christian worship while excavating a house in Laodicea. The peristyle house, built around a central garden or courtyard, was located next to a theater and was likely owned by wealthy people. The Apostle Paul sent an epistle to the church at Laodicea, which is mentioned in Colossians but appears to have been lost. The church is also mentioned in Revelation, when Jesus condemns the Christians for saying, "I am rich, I have acquired wealth and do not need a thing," when actually they are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked. Shimshek has not detailed the religious items he unearthed, but concluded the house with a church will add to scholars' understanding of how Christianity spread in Laodicea since the middle of the 1st century. One ongoing problem for biblical archaeologists is determining the authenticity of artifacts they don't personally excavate, the items sold on the antiquities market. This year saw several major examples of how cutting-edge technology can help. A clay seal impression, once believed to be a forgery, was shown to be authentic, while fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls, once believed real, were uncovered as fakes. Ben-Gurion University professor Yuval Goren and his team determined that a bulla, or clay seal, depicting a roaring lion, dates to the reign of Jeroboam II, who ruled from 788 to 748 BC. It was purchased at a Bedouin market for a small sum a few decades ago. At the same time, a firm that specializes in detecting art forgery discovered that 16 fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls in the collection of the Museum of the Bible were all modern forgeries. The museum won praise for its thorough investigation and is now displaying the fakes with an exhibit focused on the problem of forgery.
You can see the beautiful view behind me, the old city of Jerusalem from the promenade, known as Armon HaNetziv in Hebrew. In English, it's the governor's house.
A few months ago, I directed an archaeological excavation on behalf of the Israel Antiquities Authority and funded by the City of David Foundation, the Ministry of Tourism, and the Jerusalem Municipality.
2,700 years ago, during biblical Jerusalem, the times of the Judean kings, a royal estate was located here. This is the time between the Assyrian assault on Jerusalem and the time of the Babylonian conquest. In the course of the excavation, our greatest surprise was when I heard the digging vessels scraped on a large stone, and when we brushed it clean, it was the most beautiful decoration I believe ever found of the capitals decorated in that manner from the First Temple period. And we had a great surprise when, after removing that ornamented capital, we found a second one immediately underneath it. We're in the Israel Antiquities Authority storeroom. Here we have some of the examples of the most beautiful finds that decorated probably the patio or supporting a porch of a palace or a royal villa. I was so excited when we found them, I didn't sleep for 2 nights. The experts say that they are the most beautiful in their composition, in their execution of masonry and design. We're very lucky to have them preserved in this manner. We have mini capitals decorating a window, a base of a beautifully ornamented pillar. On top of it, we can put this decorative capital. The sill was on top of that. I would call that late Iron Age Windows operating system. And it's not by chance that on the 5 shekel coin, we have the impression of the capital just as found in these excavations. Something unique from the kingdom of Judea 2,700 years ago, imprinted on a modern coin in the modern state of Israel.